Shabbat Shalom. We know that what most of us in this room learned about Thanksgiving isn't really okay. It's not really okay anymore. And we have a responsibility to relearn that story, to hear the voices whose stories were not told for so many years. And we can accept that responsibility and do it right, and also be fully present for this holiday that forces us into gratitude. And we can start right now, entering this Shabbat before Thanksgiving, knowing that we're going to spend this week going deeper and deeper and deeper into gratitude. So many people here tonight, in person and online, for so many different reasons. So much gratitude just for those in the room, just for those with us virtually. That's enough right there. Just the beginning. Another few deep breaths of gratitude. And in a moment, we'll welcome the angels. Page 11.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharei, Malachei Elyon. Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Lachem Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Zeichem Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Lucia and Clementine are becoming bat mitzvah this Shabbat. Ella is coming up in just a few weeks. Would you all please come light the candles for us? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kirshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת.
page 8. We are going to do the same tune that we've been singing so far. And just the first verse of this poem, Yedid Nefesh. And I want to draw your attention to the fact that the second line is missing a little word. Before Ye'erav Lo, it should say Ki Ye'erav Lo. So when we sing it, we will add that key. We'll start with Yadadai. Dai, 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 dai. עבדך אל רצונך, ירוץ עבדך כמו איה, ישתחווה אל מול הדרכה. כי יערב לו ידידותיך מנופת צוף וכל טעם. כי יערב לו ידידותיך מנופת צוף וכל טעם. רצונך, ירוץ עבדך כמו איה, ישתחווה אל מול הדרכה. כי יערב לו ידידותיך מנופת צוף וכל טעם. כי יערב לו ידידותיך מנופת צוף וכל טעם. Page 23.
page 24.
Page 24.
Just a few minutes, we will turn to L'chadodi. We'll be on page 29. L'chadodi calls our attention to the fact that another week has passed, another week of 7 days. I'm glad my parents walked in right now because I wanted to tell you that it's my mom's birthday tomorrow and my dad's in just a few days. And, you know, it's a time to think about our days and our weeks and our years. And Pirkei Avot tells us there are ages for different things. The age of 5 is when we start studying the Bible, 10 for Mishnah, 13 for commandments, 15 for Talmud, 18 for marriage. You get that, guys? Just 20 for earning a living, 30 for power, 40 for understanding, 50 for giving advice. Oh, I'm 50. 60 for old age, 70 for gray hair, and 80 for a special strength. But you know, this Parsha also tells us that the reason we say that Sarah was 127 years, but it says Sarah was 100 years and 20 years and 7 years, is that the tradition tells us she was 100 years, but she was like 20 years.
As beautiful as 20.
Beautiful, thank you, as 20 years. As beautiful.
Not that an 80-year-old can't be beautiful.
Of course, a 100-year-old, right. So, you know, age is important, and it means exactly nothing at the same time. It's important, and it means nothing. So happy birthday to all the November birthdays, and let's celebrate this day, this Shabbat, L'chadodi.
30.
Shabbat, Kabbalat,
היו שסוסאים ורחקו כל מבלעים, יסיס עליים אלוהים, ימסוס התן הקלה, תחתוני לי קטלה, יללה יללה יללה, בני שבת,
Shabbat, Kabbalat, Lechadodi Likatala, Yalala, Yalala, Yalala,
Bnei Shabbat, Kabbalat. Boi v'shalom, atzeret bala, gam b'simcha v'tzola. תוך אמוני ים סגולה, בואי חלה,
Lechadodi Likatala, Yalala, 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 Bnei Shabbat, Kabbalat, Lechadodi Likatala, Yalala, 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 Bnei Shabbat.
Bnei Shabbat, Kabbalat. Please turn and face the east.
Page 36.
Baruch Adonai please be seated. Page 38. We close our eyes, breathe in the oneness. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך וכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Turning to page 39, Michamocha into Hashkivenu. Michamocha is about escaping the big bad stuff, so bold as to be out in daylight. The pharaohs, the slavery, the threats to our very existence. Hashkivenu is about escaping the quiet dangers that haunt us at night. Fears and anxiety, quiet worries that only come at nighttime. We pray for redemption. We pray for peace. Page 39.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'hamidenu shomreinu L'chaim, page 40. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'hamidenu shomreinu L'chaim Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha V'taknenu be'etza tova milfanecha Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'hamidenu shomreinu L'chaim Ushmor tzeitenu vo'enu L'chaim u'l'shalom me'ata ve'ad olam Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'hamidenu shomreinu L'chaim 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 Page 41 V'shameru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם V'shameru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם
The rabbis ask how you stand for the Amidah. One argues that you say your own prayers about your own desires, feelings, wants, questions before the Amidah. And one rabbi says you say that after the Amidah. The answer, you say it. So we have the words of the prayer book on page 44, but you add the words of your heart. I was thinking about when we chanted Shema earlier, about how Shema is about the oneness in the world, and how part of that oneness is holding both the blessings and the challenges all at the same time. And when we say Mishaberach, a prayer for healing, we know that sometimes actually bodily healing isn't going to happen. And yet we hold that truth along with the desire for wholeness and spiritual healing and community and support. We try to hold both at once. Moses said, El na rafana la, please God, heal her, about his sister. And we say the same. El na rafana la lo lahem. Please God, heal them. Page 239. So a few announcements before I have a short teaching, but James, where do you want me to go? Yeah, but then I have my back to all these people for the drosh, so I'm just wondering. Move over here more, near the candles? Okay. All right. I just hope my hair won't catch on fire. Yeah. Just a few announcements about some upcoming stuff that's going on. First, I'm sure you guys have seen the yacht exhibition that Melissa Sloan beautifully installed. It's really fabulous, and I encourage you, if you haven't yet had a chance, to go and just take some time with the yacht exhibit. Also, next week, it's pretty important. Next week is the Friday of Thanksgiving, and we're actually going to only hold services online, okay? So don't show up here. Show up with all those people that are on the screen. Also, right after Thanksgiving on Wednesday, November 30th, so it's the Wednesday right after Thanksgiving, we're having a free showing of the film Breaking Bread, and it's a really cool documentary done by an Israeli filmmaker where she follows Israeli Arabs and Israeli Jews and matches them together, and they cook together. And of course, all the problems of the Middle East aren't going to be cured through cooking, but it's actually a wonderful jumping off point for conversation. And it's free, just RSVP. We're going to have a hummus eating party right beforehand, so enjoy that. Also, after that, on December 2nd, we're having our next TIOH Speaks gathering, so that's when services are 45 minutes, and then there's a dinner, and then there's going to be an amazing panel with 3 of the lights of our community, Dan Neiman, Abby Liebman, and Michelle Brennan, and they're all going to be talking about the nonprofit organizations that they're involved with. I went today to Para los Niños, which is where Dan is one of the executives of that organization. It is so moving, so I urge you to come to that. Hanukkah Marketplace is Sunday, December 4th. December 8th is going to be a night of storytelling and comedy called Really God, and that should be a lot of fun. And if you're an ECC family member, we're going to be enjoying the end of Shabbat and Havdalah on December 10th. So those are all the upcoming events that are happening.
Yep, you got it.
All right, so in between, not either here nor there. Over 35 years ago, I did a deep dive in the area of in between with the theory of why we Jews don't like things that are in between. And we name those things unkosher. There's a very famous anthropologist. Her name is Mary Douglas. And I read her article, Marty knows, right? I read her article 35 years ago about purity and danger and how Jews don't like things that don't fit into neat categories. So like if it swims and has a shell, not kosher, right? If it flies but it also swarms, not kosher. If it roams the earth but doesn't have split hooves, not kosher. Right? You get the idea. It has to fall into a category. And I have to say, I have some empathy for that way of looking at life, because when I grew up, I thought there were just men and women, and that's it. And now we've learned that really there's much more of a gender binary spectrum. And I also have to say, I'm sure Rabbi Mari taught this when we did the trans panel, is that actually, according to the Mishnah, the rabbis understood that there are 6 different genders, right? But that's a whole other sermon. So what's interesting is that this in-betweenness that the rabbis felt uncomfortable with is actually how they began the Gemara, right? Because the very first question of the Gemara is, when does day end and when does night begin? And the reason why they start the Gemara that way is because they're trying to figure out when you're supposed to do your prayer, right? And it's this in-between that we call twilight that's really getting at them. Isaac, a character that we dive deeply into in this week's Torah portion, Abraham's son, is that in-between type of guy, right? Not only is it Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, he's like the in-between patriarch. But in this week's Torah portion, we find this verse, Vayetze Yaakov lashuach b'sadeh lifnot erev. Isaac went out lasuach. We're not quite sure what that means. In the field toward evening. So what was Isaac doing? What is this lasuach verb? The answer is the rabbis actually don't know, because it's the only time in the entire Torah that that verb is used. Okay? So if it's the only time it's used, they can make up whatever the heck they think it means, right? So some people say that maybe he was, praying, or maybe he was meditating. They're not quite sure what he's doing. But think about Isaac's situation for a second, right? He's nervous. His father just sent out the servant to go find a wife for him. He doesn't know what his future is going to look like. Will the servant even find a spouse for him? He doesn't know. And so this uncertainty is where he is standing emotionally in his life. The rabbis actually say that the reason why we pray 3 times a day, traditional Jews pray 3 times a day, is because each prayer is associated with a different patriarch. Abraham is for the morning. Isaac, who we're meeting now, is for the afternoon. How do they get that? Well, they say that lasuach means praying. And what was he praying? He was praying the mincha prayer, the afternoon prayer. Now, I'm actually sort of taken by this jump of logic because the afternoon seems to me, in my personal life, the most unlikely time to pray. Right? If you think about it, the morning makes sense. We're starting our day, and perhaps we're worried about what we have on our plate, or maybe we're even filled with gratitude. Holy cow, I'm alive again, right? And evening makes sense because we're thinking about what happened during the day, we're trying to make sense of our life, and we're hoping for a safe night. But mincha, the afternoon, it's smack in the middle of our day. We're busy with errands, with obligations, the messiness of life. And yet the rabbis are saying that that's when Isaac stopped. That's when he paused, because he was the in-between type of guy. Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Berdichev, he's known as the Kedushat HaLevi, he asks a great question. He asks, why is the afternoon prayer even called mincha? Because the way you say afternoon in Hebrew is not mincha. The way you say afternoon in Hebrew is tzoraim. So why isn't it called that? And he teaches that mincha and nadava both have the same sort of meaning, and that meaning is gift. And he teaches that mincha is actually a gift. It's a gift that we give not just to ourselves to pause in the middle of the day, but it's a gift that we give to the expansiveness of life, the holiness of life, what some call God. And this surprising counterintuitive act is the gift that we give to ourselves and we give to God. So I have to admit, mincha has never been top of my list. And perhaps it's because being in the in-between is actually not really very comfortable. It's much easier to move on to the next task. But I wonder if we take a moment, a few moments in the middle of our day to have like a soul refresh, like a refresh on a computer. Sort of like an afternoon coffee for those of you who drink, or a 5-minute stretch or meditation, bringing us back into balance. And now, with that understanding, I finally get why mincha starts with Ashrei. I never got it before. Ashrei is Psalm 145, and it begins with Ashrei yoshvei vetecha od yalu chasela. Happiness are for those who sit, who take a moment, who pause, and dwell in God's house. That's cool. What if we were just once a day, just for a few minutes, to take a pause, to emulate Isaac? And what's cool is right after it says that Isaac lasuach went out in the evening. You know what the next phrase is in the exact same verse? The next phrase is, and he looked up and he saw camels approaching. And you got to wonder, were those camels there the whole time? but it just took him a moment of pause to then notice them. It reminds me of Hagar, right, that we read about on Rosh Hashanah. And she was so bereft that her son was going to die, and then she looked up and saw the well, right? What would it be like if we just paused? And then if we looked up after that, maybe we wouldn't see our beloved, but maybe we would see our camels that were just out there and we just didn't notice them. Maybe being in the in-between actually could be a blessing. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, page 282. We rise, and the words are actually on the whiteboard in Shelley's beautiful handwriting. This week we remember the yard sites of Herman Broad, Tilly Croman, Bella Sislowski, Arnold Derwin, Dorit Friedlander, Richard Geiger, Alan Lewis Gold, Stanley Goldberg, Maurice Goldman, Martha Heller, Irving Kaplan, William Kaplan, David Klebanow, Ida London, Philip Margot, Tim Olmsted, Xavier Roja, Ruth Salinas, Etta Satmary, Lily Turner, Edith Wall, Claire Fox Wolpe, and Diana Wozniak. Also during these 30 days of Shloshim, we've laid to rest Dr. Stephen J. Shapiro. And just this week, our youth director, Liana Wertman, her grandmother died, Harriet Wertman. If you are here remembering a yard site, or you're in your first year of mourning, we ask you to rise. And if I didn't mention a name and you'd like to mention a name, please do that as well. If it's your tradition to rise with the mourners, please rise. We're on 292 for Mourners Kaddish. And the mourners lead us. Yitkadal v'yitkadash
Amen.
Bialma divrach rute, vial mich malchute, b'chayechon of yomachon of chayet to kol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvisman kari v'imru,
Amen.
Yehe shmei rabba mevarach le'olam al me'al maya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudashah brechu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, da'amiran bi'alma v'imru.
Amen.
Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen.
Amen.
Oh, say shalom. B'roma. Oh, say shalom. B'roma. Hu ya'aseh, hu ya'aseh, hu ya'aseh shalom. Hu ya'aseh, hu ya'aseh, hu ya'aseh shalom. Hu ya'aseh, hu ya'aseh, hu ya'aseh shalom. Alleluia. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. Oh, say shalom. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down.
Lucia, Clementine, and Ella are going to lead us in Kiddush and Motzi. As they're coming up, turn to the people in front of you, behind you, meet someone next to you that you haven't met, and say Shabbat Shalom.
Well, come on back for Kiddush and Motzi. Come on back.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hinhilanu zikaron lema'aseh bereishit ki hu yom tehillah lemikra'ei kodesh zeher letziat mitzrayim.
Hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat L'chaim. Shalom. Take a sip, it's juice.
Oops, I missed the hollow board, but all right, then we guys are ready. Baruch atah Adonai, ready?
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.